Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to get started on making your light painting photos into a slideshow / movie in Adobe Photoshop. First thing I want you to do is get together with your group members and everybody just gather around a computer and open up whoever has the light painting photo. So in this case I've opened up here to my snow light painting folder, and I would gather all my group around me and we are going to go through and we are going to get these images in the order that they need to be in for my slideshow. So you have a couple different options. You can just kind of click and drag images. Like here's my title. This needs to be at the beginning. I could click and drag these one at a time up to the top, or I could click on the first one, hold down Shift, click on the last one, and then click and drag all of them up to the top. And you can see that little yellow bar there that shows me that's where it's going to go. Put those at the beginning. Here's my names. These need to be the very last slide. So again, I'll click on the first one, hold down Shift, click on the last one, and move it down to the bottom. You can see I probably have a few too many photos in here. I have almost 60. That's actually not bad. You don't want to have any more than 60. So what do we do if we have some extras? Well, I don't want you to delete them. In fact, what I want you to do is just right click anywhere in a blank spot like right here and just choose new folder. Let's call this unused images. These are the images we're not going to use so that we can narrow it down a little bit. So let's say I don't need this one because I've got this one and I've got this one. So I would just click on this one and drag it into the unused images folder. The reason why we're not deleting these is you might end up needing them later on. So it's a good idea to just hold on to them. I'm going to drag just a few in here, put them in the unused images folder, and that way I can narrow it down. I'm going to try to get this to right around 52 or 53, so I'm going to drop a few more in there. And there we go. Let's get one more. You'll notice I did have my bridge set up so that I could see all of my images. I did that. I moved this bar over. This just makes it a lot easier if I can see all my images. And also I can change the size of these thumbnails right here by moving this little slider right here. I can make those bigger or smaller. So change those as needed to be able to see a little bit better what you're going to do. And the only other thing you need to be aware of is every once in a while when you guys download your images, you forget to change this create subfolder right here to none. And that makes a huge difference, especially on a day or on an assignment where we're shooting over multiple days, because you're leaving it set to shot date. So every time you download, your images are going into a separate folder. If that happens, like it did here in this folder, if I go into her Light Painting 2 folder, you can see she's got some images here, but she also has a folder with a date in it. And then inside of that folder, there's all the other dates. So she was not paying very close attention when she was downloading, and she was not changing create subfolders to none. So there were images in each of these folders. We've already gone through and removed them, but let's say there were images in here. We would go in here, we would select them all by pressing Control A, then we would right click and we would choose cut would be an option because there would be images there. And we want to cut them because we don't want them in this folder anymore. We want them in this folder in the Light Painting 2. Then we would come back here and right click and choose paste. And again, that's not an option because I haven't actually cut anything. So if you have multiple folders like this, go through each folder, select them all by pressing Control A, right click and choose cut, go back to your main light painting folder and right click and choose paste. All right, now that I've got my images all in the exact order I want them, I've removed the images I don't want and put them in my unused images folder. We now need to rename them so that they stay in the order that we've put them in. So I'm going to click on my first one, hold down Shift, and click on my last one. I'm going to just come up here to the top of my screen and go to Tools, and I'm going to choose Batch Rename. And this box right here is going to pop up. Don't change anything up here. We do want to change a couple things down here. First thing is we have 4 rows here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We only need 2 of these, so I'm going to delete 2 of them by clicking on these minus signs right here. And this first one should say text. And so I'm going to leave this one on text, but I'm going to call it Light Painting _. The second one I want to be a sequence number, so I'll click right here on sequence number. I want the number to be 1 and I want it to be 3 digits. That's not super important. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click on rename. And you can see that's going to take a second, but it's going to rename and number all of these for me. And now they're in here as Light Painting 001 all the way through Light Painting 052. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to happen. Okay, now the hardest part of this whole project right here, it's a little bit complicated, so follow along. I'm just going to right click here in a blank spot again. I'm going to make another new folder. I'm going to put this in all caps. Use these images. These are the ones we want to use for our light painting project. I'm just going to leave that empty. So There we go. And then I'm going to select all my images again. Click on the first one, hold down Shift, click on the last one. And we're going to click on this little dude right here. What we're going to do is we're going to use this software right here to resize our images to make them smaller for us. We don't need them to be full size because we're making a video. They're going to end up getting shrunken down anyway. So this box right here will pop. Camera raw, yours might be a different number, but as long as it says camera raw here, you're good to go. And we're not going to do anything with any of this stuff over here. In fact, all we're going to do is press Control A to select all of the images right here. You'll know you did it right because this will go from saying save image to save images because we selected multiple images. So I'm just going to click on the Save Images button now. And super important that we come up here and select the folder that we want our images to go into. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go into that period 3 folder where I was, go into my folder, go into my snow light painting, and I'm going to use the Use These Images folder right here. So I'm going to double click on that. You're not going to see anything in here. That's okay. And we'll just click on Select, and we're not going to rename anything here. We do want to make sure that this file extension is on JPEG. It doesn't matter which JPEG you use, it just needs to be on JPEG instead of DNG. So let's click on JPEG. And nothing else matters except for right here, we're going to do resize to fit. And we're going to put in here the numbers 1080. The reason why is because most videos are produced at 1080p, which is 1080 pixels. And that's pretty much it. We'll just come up here and press the Save button. And you can see it's doing its thing. You can wait for that to finish so that you know it's done, or you can just hit done and know that it is continuing to work in the background. You can see if I go into my Use These Images folder, they will be slowly appearing as they are saving. Okay, at this point we've got all our images here in the Use These Images folder. Now what you want to do, if you are still with your group, is you want to go back to your own computer. So let's say I am, let's say Caitlin Martin. If I was Caitlin Martin, which would be weird, but whatever. I would go into my folder if I was Caitlin. Well, I'd go to Mr. Johnson's folder, I should say. So I'll come in here to Johnson, Mr. I'd come into Snow Light Painting. I'd find the Use These Images folder. I'd right click, and this time I'd make sure I choose Copy because I don't want to take those images from him. So I'd choose Copy, and I'd come back to period 3, and I'd go in here to my folder because I'm Caitlin Martin. I'd come in here, and I would right click, and I would choose Paste. And I would wait for those Use These Images files to show up. And those are the ones we're going to use to make our video. All right, that folder is there. Here we go. I'm going to go back to being Mr. Johnson. So I'm not Caitlin Martin anymore. Sorry about that. I'm going to go into Photoshop, and we need to get into the slideshow making workspace. So we need to go to Window, Workspace, Motion. You'll know you're there because the little timeline will be there. Every once in a while, this timeline is gone, even if you've gone to Window, Workspace, Motion. If that happens, just go to Window, Workspace, and choose Reset Motion, and that will put the timeline back there for you. So remember, whenever we're making a slideshow or a video, we do not do File Open. Please don't do File Open. You'll have to close Photoshop and start all over. Instead, what I want you to do is click on this little Add Media button right here, and we'll click right here on Add Media. And this is going to pop up, and we're going to go into, again, period 3, my folder. You would go into your own folder, of course. I'm going to go into Snow Light Painting, and look, here's Use These Images. I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to press Control A to select all 50-something of them, 52, and I'm going to go ahead and press Open. This is going to take a while, so I'll pause it. We'll come back when it's done. All right, at this point, I got all my slides here in my timeline. You can see here we go. Whoop. Beautiful. We're not going to do anything to this right now. All we're going to do is come up here and go to File, Save. Don't be this person. Look, I'm already in my Use These Images folder. I see you guys do this all the time. You're in the folder that you need to save it in, and you go like this. You're like, well, I better put it in my Use These Images folder. You go to this PC, and then you go to your photo drive, and then you go to period 3, then you go to your... Don't be this person. I hate this person. No, that's not true. I don't hate you. You're a good person. I still like you. But we're still in the Use These Images folder. I'm going to call this Final Movie, and we're going to make sure we save as type as a Photoshop. Do not save it as a JPEG. Bad things will happen. You'll have to start all over. We're going to hit Save. You're going to want to watch this blue progress bar. Once it is done, you are good to go, and you have finished day 1 of making your light painting movie.